We are living through a deepening housing crisis, and the number of people at risk of homelessness is on the rise. 3 million Australians are at risk of homelessness. Of these, a third are young people. My goal is to bring an end to youth homelessness. I believe we can do it. It's through a genuine focus on empowering young people to overcome systemic barriers before we even start demanding success of them. As youth workers, we're often driving across the Gold Coast to see young people. And it's actually one of my favourite times to be with a young person in a car because, you know, you're avoiding eye contact. You can actually have a bit of a chat in a different way. What we're doing today is to check in with 3 young people who have quite different experiences. We've got Korrinne, Nellie and Logan. They've invited us to go back in time to take us back to probably really vulnerable, traumatic moments that now they can revisit. And with it is, you know, nurturing them through this, but also celebrating their stories. And so these young people are inviting us into that journey and that decision making for them and their hopes and dreams.
So the place that we're going to, I lived at around 3.5 years ago. I was only 16, and I'm pretty sure we ended up lying about our age on the lease, and our landlord was really okay with it. She was really keen on just how we presented ourselves, and they were happy with that. And plus the place that we were applying for wasn't very nice, so I think they were just really desperate for someone to live there. Yeah. So they knew that the 4 of us were moving in, and they were like, okay, so there's 4 of you, you're all working, so you're gonna pay us $4.50 a week in rent.
Everyone shared a room?
Yeah.
As in like there was 2 people and
2 people and 2 people, yeah. So we didn't really have much space between us all. No. And our toilet didn't work, we had to get that replaced. Our shower was not a working shower either.
First feeling is like, wow, I'm so happy I'm not here. Like, I'm so glad I had the chance to like move away from this. Being a person that was brought up in foster care, it really shows you a different aspect of life within like not having your biological parents there. That changes your aspect of going to your biological parents for things. I think it's important for people to understand that youth homelessness is a wide range of homelessness. It can be you don't have anywhere to sleep and you're sleeping on the streets. It could also mean you have somewhere to sleep, you just don't feel safe or protected in where you are.
One of the biggest driving factors of homelessness is domestic and family violence. Young people in the context of housing and in my sphere is usually categorised between 16 and 25. But we're seeing young people, younger than that, presenting to SHSs, some as young as 12.
so critical that we talk about young people in the context of housing, homelessness in the family. Because right now we have like a housing and homelessness strategy, a national one, but it doesn't talk about young people. It doesn't talk about their unique experiences. And I'd say that's one thing from working with young people, that's what we need to advocate for. There's not one solution that fits every young person. However, if you're not even talking about young people, if they're not even on the table, how are we even meeting their needs? Or how are we even hearing their needs if we don't even have a plan to address it? Hey, Nellie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good.
The trains always felt like the second home. Like I knew them better, I felt like, than the places I lived at sometimes. I managed to fall asleep on them easier.
free Wi-Fi if that stopped there. That's so resourceful.
Yeah, I'd repurpose the chairs and the crates and the desks that were thrown in the big garbage bin at the back of the school, and I'd bring them here and I'd just chill out. I'd play games, I'd read my books, I'd do my assignments. You always bring a backpack full of clothes because it doubles as a pillow if it's full of clothes.
Clever.
I just feel like some people misunderstand that youth homelessness doesn't necessarily mean that you were kicked out. Sometimes it just means that you're just not in a space where you want to be. In competitive Pokemon, there's a thing called playing around the crit, where you're meant to play with the mindset that if you can be critical hit, you will always be critical hit. And so you play around that. And that's how I feel like I live my life, where I assume that whatever bad thing could happen will happen, and then I make a plan for it in case it does.
I suppose over the 2 years that I spent homeless, this was one of the many locations that I stayed at. I stayed there for maybe a couple months. It was really rough because it was just after Christmas that I moved up there, so I actually spent New Year's Day there. My birthday, I spent my birthday there.
As well.
And then, yeah, Australia Day I spent there as well, which sounds like a great place to be on Australia Day, but maybe not my situation where I just kind of stayed up there isolating, listening to everyone else down the water having fun, but I just wasn't in the headspace to kind of interact with other people at the time.
So you found it.
Yep, still here.
It's remarkable it's in that good condition still.
No, I should pack it up and sell it on Gumtree. It's
You could.
like new. I suppose out of like the 2 years I spent being homeless, being here would have been my lowest point. It's weird because, I mean, some people might sort of think that this is just a really beautiful spot to camp in, and I mean, it is beautiful. It's a national park. There's the beach just down there, like it's a great setting to be in, but when you're sort of in that like poor headspace, and you know, I guess people go camping because they want to go camping, but I didn't really have a choice. Like this was my only option. I didn't want to be here. Yeah, so there were some holes in the tent when I was living in here.
Yeah.
And I would actually like there were nights when like mice and rats would come in, and like I'd have my lighter on me. That was the only thing that I could sort of like use to see them. And I found out that, you know, like when I spot the rats, they run away from the flame from the lighter. And it was always at night time too, and I'd be sitting there trying to sleep, and I'd feel these rats like underneath my mattress just.
So in and amongst these conditions, to start by considering why we only have 7 crisis beds for the 322 young people experiencing homelessness on any given night on the Gold Coast. Like, that just should show you the level of lack of investment that's preceded this moment.
Having a home really just kickstarts all the good things that can possibly happen for a person. Oh my gosh, the feeling when I found out I got to move into the foyer was phenomenal.
Hey bro,
Hey.
how's your day going? I hear you've been out and about.
Yes, it was so good. So good. It was definitely a big day. But overall, very enjoyable because I got to really sit in with like who I am now, and then really get to reflect on who I was. And I think also living in the foyer has helped me achieve a lot of things that I didn't really see I had potential in, and I didn't really believe I had a shot in those kind of ways, and I think I just went for it, and I really surprised myself at the end of the day.
When I moved in here, I didn't really come with many possessions at all, so I sort of just took all these little things that other people sort of just take for granted, like a washing machine, a mattress, stuff like that. Just having those very basic things for me just meant so much, because I came from not having any of that and then having the luxury of just being able to use that stuff in my own space. And it gives me that security and that comfort of knowing that my lease isn't just going to end out of the blue, or that, you know, I'm not going to end up back where I was before.
Having a stable place to live has allowed me to just achieve a lot, like getting my 2 degrees, setting up this place as a pit stop, published in the book, helped write a play. I don't think it's in the camera, but it's fine. Yeah, mostly just I'll allow myself to be grounded so that I can support others.
So I've got a job working as a support worker for disability, but the long-term goal is to get into social work industry, possibly something that I've got lived experience in. And so this support worker job is sort of just kind of like the first step to get me there. It's going to sort of teach me compassion, empathy, patience. It's got a lot of things that I sort of need to know to get me to where I want to be.
You completed your diploma.
In a year.
In a year,
Yeah.
smashed it out.
Yeah.
You've got a job where you're just like, you're so valued at the workplace, they love you. And, you know, the health and wellbeing rep,
Yeah.
helping other young people go to gym, show them what to do.
I love it though.
Yeah.
It's so good seeing people push themselves and take themselves out of their comfort zone where they didn't even believe in themselves at the start, and I've somehow brought belief into them. It's freaking cool to see. I'm just like, wow. See, you surprise yourself and I surprise myself. Let's go, guys. It's a cool journey, and I do really appreciate being that kind of leader.
Our true hope resides in us, and we have to return to that and seeing the best in the potential in people, as opposed to the opposite. In a world that's absolutely riddled with sensationalisation, particularly from the media, it's easy to kind of grab the sound bites of the media and the negative pathology that's out there, and that's dangerous. It's completely untrue. And I get the privilege of seeing the gold in people every single day, and it's incumbent on us as community members, as political leaders, as philanthropics, to invest in our young people, not just their problems, but their skills and talents, so they can believe in hope. We are the conduits of hope.
It takes collective responsibility, a ground-up community approach to cultivate political will. The road ahead requires us to listen, and I mean deeply listen, to young people's stories so we can better understand their adversity.
What will help you to continue to live independently?
Greater finances so that I can replace things when they break, like a mop and a vacuum cleaner, and buy new pillowcases and new bed sheets, and getting stuff like NDIS and DSP would also be very helpful. It's taught me that I am very adaptive, more so than others, I realise now.
The overwhelming pressure on services means opportunities for prevention are being missed. It's not rocket science. We need housing first with wraparound support. But if it's that simple, why aren't we doing it? This is confronting because it takes difficult conversations. I'm looking for a national action plan that puts young people first. A plan we can all get behind to end youth homelessness.